Welcome to Session Sunday. Hi guys, it's Jack Edwards and today's session is going to be focusing on defensive transition. But before we get into this week's video, make sure to give us a like and subscribe, and if you missed last week's session, click on the link above. Okay, so moving into part one of this week's session, we're looking at a recovery defending type of drill. Okay, so this week we've got 13 players, including a goalkeeper. If you don't have a goalkeeper, obviously you can use an assistant coach or a parent, but we just need to make sure that we've got somebody to fill that goal so that it makes it realistic when the attackers are trying to score. So what we've got here, we've split our group into two, okay, excluding the goalkeeper. So we've got 8 defenders right now and 4 attackers. The defenders will swap positions as well, so they're getting goes, being the defender, recovering, and also being the centre-back as well. The setup for this part of the session, we've got 35 yards of total depth and we've got 30 yards of width. So from centre-back to centre-back, we've got 20 yards of width and we've got 5 yards either side, just in case the attackers try and attack in there. The width between the attackers is just 10 yards and the width between the defenders here is just 5 yards, okay? So they're starting 5 yards further back, so it's a 30-yard pass into the attackers, and then the recovering defender is 5 yards further back. So the aim of this drill is the centre-back, we want them to slow the attacker down and then get the support from the recovering defender who can either try and intercept the ball or provide obviously that overload to then win the ball back. So we're trying to slow the attacker down, restrict the space, delay them to then intercept once we've got some support from our teammates. How it's going to work is the centre-back will play straight up to the attacker. Okay, so we're not playing diagonal. So he's going to play straight up. This then triggers the opposite defender to make their run. So as soon as he's played up, we want the centre-back to be getting out nice and quick to start to restrict that space. As soon as they've took a touch, recovering defender starts to make the way in. So the centre-back slowing him down. As soon as he cuts inside, that's where we get that support. We can win the ball back. Okay? So we're just trying to stop that attacker from scoring. So this player's got to bust the gut, coming back from midfield, or it could be somebody's out of position, lost the ball, the team's going to counter-attack. How can we stop their counter-attack? Get back in quickly, so recovering that ground quickly. Lots of speed, lots of power to get there, and then engaging quickly, okay? So if the ball's there to be won, win it, okay? If it's not there to be won, can we provide cover? Okay, so we're blocking that area to the goal off now. And then when the player does decide to cut inside, it's a 2v1 situation, so then we can try and win the ball. So winning the ball in the right areas. The attacker, once the play is finished, will just go back to their line. The centre-back will then go and join the back of the line here as the recovering defender, and the player who's the recovering defender then goes and beats the centre-back, and obviously the next side will go, and we keep doing it the way it is there. So we're looking for good intensity, the attackers to drive at us quickly, but then we're trying to restrict their space, okay? And once we get that support, can we win the ball? We will now move into our first animation before moving on to the progression for this part of the session. Okay, so moving into the progression for this part of the session, we're now making it a 2v2 scenario, but it's going to start off a 2v1 scenario, so then the recovering defender's got to get back quickly and support the centre-back. So the centre-back now will play a diagonal pass, okay, to the attacker. The defender on this side will then join in, okay, so we want to try and get that overload on one side and try and cut this pass off here. So as soon as the defender's played that pass, he's going to cover that ground quickly, obviously got the other attacker making a move. Recovering defender will start coming in once this player's took a touch, okay? So the centre-back here, we want them to cut this side of the pitch off, okay? So when this recovery defender comes in, might even come into here, okay, to make it a 1v1 there, and then this player's supporting here so they can't get the ball, or might come right in here and attempt to win the ball, okay? So it all depends on where the defender here, the centre-back, has shown the attacker, okay? If he's come across too far, showing him inside, then he's a left-footed. He's obviously going to play that ball in here, so this recovery defender is going to get in here and stop the pass. But if he's cut the pass off here, okay, and he's showing him down the line, recovery defender can come straight in here, and then we've got our 2v2. He's going to mark there, this player's going to mark here, okay? And now we're making it difficult for the attackers. We've restricted the space. Now can we try and engage when you come inside to win the ball? All right, so now the movements again, once we finish, the centre-back will go back. The centre-back will go to where the recovering defender was. The recovering defender will go to where the centre-back was. And the two attackers just go to the back of the queue. Okay. So if we're looking at a game scenario again, we could be bringing the ball out the back, we've lost the ball, or a player's lost the ball, and we think we're going to receive it. We're in possession shape. The opposition have won the ball 30 yards from goal. Now we've got to get back and be decisive. Okay, so it's not about like getting back into a compact shape. It's about getting back to win the ball. Okay, so can we win the ball back in that first 5 or 6 seconds? We will now move into our next animation before moving on to this week's 4-corner model. Okay, so moving into this week's 4-corner model, starting off with technical and tactical. We've mentioned it a couple of times already in the drill so far about covering the ground quickly. Okay, so reacting quickly, getting across, getting back, okay, so we can restrict the attacker's space, okay. So when we've lost the ball with the midfielder recovering back, we've got to be there quickly, okay, we've got to know where we're going to, okay, we can't be lounging back thinking, we'll get there eventually. As soon as it's gone, react quickly, get at speed and get back, okay, the quicker we're back, the quicker we can win the ball. Delaying the attacker. So the centre-back in that scenario there, we're trying to delay the attacker. We're forcing them to hold it, to make a decision then. Okay, so when we're delaying them, delay. You can see the support coming. Once you've got that support, then can we engage? Okay, or now I know what we're going to do. Now I know where I'm definitely going to show him. Okay, so if he is a right footer and I'm delaying him, okay, show him inside, and then can we go and engage? And then same for the recovery defender. When they get back in, can they delay to get the centre back? Maybe get back into position on the opposite attacker. Low body position. So when we're trying to delay the attacker, if we're standing square, okay, it's easy for them to take the ball either side. If we're low to the ball, okay, knees are bent, and we're able to shift, okay, and change body position quickly, change quickly and be able to turn. Okay, so if the attacker is quite nimble and likes to cut inside and chop back outside, okay, if we're standing square, we're not going to be able to turn quickly. Okay, if we've got a low body position, okay, and we're not standing square on, okay, we're able to see where the ball is, okay, and where he wants to go. So he's a left foot and he's wanting to come inside. I know exactly that I'm going to position myself, so I'm going to force him on his right foot. Okay, but I'm going to be low to the ball so that if he does try to turn, okay, I'm able to adapt and pinch the ball. Retaining our shape, which we'll see later in the small-sided game, okay? So we can't win that ball after the first 5 or 6 seconds, okay? Can we get our shape? Okay, so if we're playing a 4-3-3, can we get our back four and our hold midfielder in front? If we're playing a 4-4-2, can we get our back four and our two midfielders in front? So as soon as that possession's been lost, can we win the ball? Can we counter-press, okay, quickly? Can we recover? Cover that ground quickly, delay the attackers. If we can't win the ball after that, get into our shape and then look to win the ball after that. So stay in compact, force the opposition into areas where we can win the ball. And then finally, manipulate the attackers. Okay, so show them where we want to go. So when we're delaying them, okay, using that low body position, things like that. Okay, so we want to manipulate the attackers where we want them to go. Okay, so then if our recovery defender is coming from the right-hand side and the attacker's trying to come inside, okay, we don't want that. Okay, show him on the outside so then the recovery defender can come on the opposite side of him, and we've got two players around one player who's got no chance of playing the pass. Okay, so we've got to make it difficult for the attackers. Moving into the psychological corner, having a positive attitude. Okay, so defensive is a hard working job. Okay, so when you're recovering like this in a 5-6 second burst and you're doing it a couple of times, okay, you need that positive attitude because, if the attacker does score, you can get frustrating. Okay, so it's important to relay that onto the players all the time, being positive. Okay, if things don't work out, we can do it again, we do it again. And obviously we're in training, this is why we do it. Okay, which is making sure that we're always positive, okay, always praising each other, always giving each other support. Understanding of the opposition and the position. So an understanding of the attacker that you're up against, what footed they are, where did they like to go, what type of passes did they do, what type of dribbling or tricks did they do, so then you know where exactly you want to manipulate them. Okay, you want to exactly show them where you don't want them to go. Okay, so you're going to close that area of the pitch off. And then position as well, understanding of where you're meant to be, where you're going to go. Okay, so understanding where the space is and where you need to cover. Belief. So belief, especially as a recovery defender and the centre-back, when you're in them overloaded positions or when you're sprinting back, belief that you can do it, belief that you can get back and win that ball, because the odds can be against you sometimes. So you've got to believe in yourself so that you push that extra couple of percent to win the ball. And then finally, being decisive of when to engage. Okay, so not selling ourselves too early, not trying to pinch the ball too early. If I can see that recovery defender coming in, I know, right, as soon as he's coming to this part of the pitch here, that's when I can engage him in the ball. When the attacker shows us the ball, then can we win it, okay? If we're forcing him into areas where there isn't much space, then can we win it? But it's got to be at the right time. Moving into the physical corner, starting off with speed, so we're looking to cover the ground quickly. Okay, so we're being that recovery defender or being the centre-back getting out to the ball. It's got to be quick, okay? It can't be slow. So as quick as we can get to the ball, cover the ground quickly, then get our low body position as the centre-back, delay the attacker, if with a recovery defender, get back quickly, okay, and then try and engage. Use that speed and that momentum, what you build up to try and win the ball. Strength and power, okay, so being powerful to win the ball, okay? You've got to try and bully the attacker, okay? If they're a nimble, fast player, okay, you've got to be stronger than them. You've got to get your body involved, okay? You've got to be strong in the tackle and make sure that they don't have any chance of that ball ricocheting back to them and going in on goal. ABCs, so obviously agility, balance, coordination, being able to turn quickly, okay, so using the things like that low body position, okay, so when the attacker's coming inside and going outside, we're able to turn quickly, okay, and retain that shape to be able to try and win the ball. And then finally, stamina. Okay, so we're working on transitions all the time. It takes a lot of hard work. Okay, so when we've got the ball, can we get a bit of rest, or can we score quickly so then we can get a bit more time to get into our shape before the attackers go and try and score? And then obviously after we finish the drill, okay, steadily get yourself back, okay, into position so that you're ready to go again. Okay, so use your energy wisely. Now finally, the social corner, so communication, so telling your teammates where to go. So if you're the centre-back and you think that the recovering defender should be going somewhere, tell the player, okay, because sometimes somebody might see something different and they might go somewhere else. Okay, so tell your player where to go. So as a coach as well, you should be saying to the full-back who's running back or the midfielder who's running back, you're playing against the left footer, try and go on the inside, so that he's got an overload on his left foot, so he's going to try and go on his right foot. Things like that. So the things that you see, try and put it onto the player so that they can then think it. Supporting your teammates, okay, that's in terms of praising them, okay, and also in terms of providing support as defenders. So this we're talking about that transition, okay, so helping our teammates out. So in the small-sided game, you might be a centre midfielder, but the centre-back's been dragged over into the full-back position because the full-back was higher up the pitch. You can cover that area there, so you're supporting your teammates, okay? And then looking at the praise as well. So when the players are winning the ball back, when they are putting a shift in, making sure that we're giving praise to each other, especially as a coach as well, providing that positive feedback to the players. Okay, so moving into part 2 of this week's session, we're now looking at defending against the counter-attack with recovery runs from our full-backs. In terms of the equipment for this session, similar to the last part of the session, so all we need is balls, bibs and cones, and obviously the goal for the attackers to score in. So this time we've got to split up into different teams. So we've got our defensive team in yellow, we've got our attackers in green, and then we've got 2 separate teams here. One's going to be attacking and one's obviously not. It's going to be a race to attack, really. So what's going to happen is the ball starts with the coach. The 2 players at the front here, when the coach shouts go, will run straight up to the cone in front of them. Whichever player gets there first, so we're going to say the red gets there first this time, okay, the coach will then play into this player, okay? The other player will go back to their cue here. As soon as that player's got the ball, trigger for the fullbacks, okay? We've just lost the ball, trigger for the fullbacks to get in. This player's going to try and drive the defence, okay? So what we want the centre-backs to do is keep the play in central areas, okay? And we want the fullbacks recovering to get in here to stop play going out wide. So then when the attackers are trying to get it in here, okay, we're now trying to regain that shape and that balance, all right? So when they're coming to attack us, once we've got support, can we then look to engage? If it's going to go into wide areas, okay, can we then look to defend the cross into the box to intercept the ball? Okay, so our fullbacks, they've got to react quickly. As soon as that coach plays that ball into the player who's going to be attacking, react as quick as we can, okay? So the player on the opposite, so we're going to see where that touch takes us as well. If the player receives the ball here and he goes on the outside, recovery defender gets straight across, okay, stop that ball going to the winger. This then means the other fullback can get right across here and provide support with the centre-backs, okay? So it becomes a 4v4 scenario, but we've got to react quickly, okay? So we've just lost the ball in midfield and we're trying to play through. Our fullbacks are nice high and wide because we're trying to get the ball to them. We've lost the ball, can we react quickly, okay? So that recovery run has got to be quick, Okay, it's not straight in here, okay, because we're leaving the space. Get it inside the pitch, okay? So to stop this player on the ball, having any options, and to prevent space for the winger getting the ball as well. And then the centre-backs, like we say at the start, okay, stopping that play coming out wide, okay? So getting across, closing the options, and hoping that the full-backs get in. After the drill's finished, attackers go back to their starting positions, full-backs go back to their positions as well. And then we have these players going back, ball with the coach, and then we go again. How we can change it is that the players in here could maybe become the full-backs. You can maybe swap the centre-backs with the full-backs. Maybe have it as midfielders as well, just so these players can get a rest as well. Or if you have even more players, you can have full-backs in here as well. A spare full-back, so they're just rotating all the time. So if you've got more than 13 players, say you've got 15 or 17, you could have an extra 2 full-backs in here, maybe an extra 2 wingers, or an extra 2 players in here, or an extra 2 centre-backs. So just making sure that the split is quite fair. We will now move into our next animation before moving on to part 3 of this week's session. Okay, so moving into part 3 of this week's session, we're now moving into a small sided game scenario based on defensive transitions. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got 2 teams of 6, and then the Blues, who are the defending team, are going to have the goalkeeper who's going to have the bigger goal, and the Blues are going to be trying to score in the 3 small goals here. If you don't have 3 small goals, you can create small end zones for the players to dribble in or maybe receive the ball in. The coach we want positioned on the side so that when the defenders team do score, okay, the transition is instantly in here, not back here. Okay, so they've got to turn and get back quickly. So looking at these transitions, you know, in football now, we know how much the game has turned into counter-attacking football as well. So it's important that when we lose the ball, we do retain some shape quickly. Okay, so if the fullback's gone up here and the winger's got the ball, the centre-back's gonna have to come across. Okay, so what's the midfielder got to do? Okay, can we all get in here? Okay, provide a bit of shape, and then when the fullback gets in, all right, know whether he can come and cover in centrally, okay, and support, or he gets back in here, we make our back 4, and then the full-back can even push in here to support. Okay, so we've got to start getting these things, but as soon as we've lost possession, can we look to maybe win the ball? Okay, if we can. If we can't, okay, we recover. Okay, so when we're working on our recovery defending in part 1 and part 2, okay, we're working on trying to win the ball, but can we also be organised? So can we delay the attackers? Okay, can we restrict their space? If we're out of position, can we cover that ground quickly? All right, so then we can get into our shape. So manipulating the attackers whilst we get our team shape back. Okay, so the Reds, obviously, when they get the ball, they're just looking to attack the goal. When the Blues have got possession, to make it difficult on the transition, the fullbacks have to be in the wide areas. Okay, so the setup for this part of the session, we've got 20 yards of width centrally and 5 yards either side. Okay, so we've got 30 yards of width and we've just got 40 yards of total depth. So in possession, you know, the Blues, they're going to look for their midfielders to get up at the pitch and support so they can try and score centrally or out wide. Okay, so we're looking to maybe work that ball through. Okay, can we play? Can we get a run out wide? Try and score. As soon as that happens, as soon as that ball's gone in the goal, coach has got a ball. The fullback might even be up here because he's tried to carry on his run. We're playing here. Okay, so this player's going to attack. Centre-back's going to come across. Centre-back comes across. Fullback's getting back in. Midfielder's getting in. So we're providing a bit of a back 4 there. Midfielder's getting back. This player can get in here to cover centrally. We've got players running here for the attackers. Okay, so now we've delayed them. Right, now can we try and win the ball? Okay, so force them into areas. Might even be a cross in the box. Or are they going to come back? If they come back, right, we're in shape now. We've got our back 4. Okay, nice and in the middle of the pitch. So we want to be defending in the central areas. Okay, get them in here. Keep forcing them. And then when they do look to come out wide again, can we pinch the ball and then look to score? Okay, so we want to try and win the ball quickly, okay, but we're looking to recover into shape. We will now move into our final animation before concluding this week's session. Thanks for watching this week's session. Before we finish, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who's helped us reach 200 subscribers and for all the feedback on social media. For more content, follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. The links will be in the description below, and we'll see you next week for another Session Sunday.